In this unit, we're going to talk about the New Mexico smoking ban, hiring employees, hourly wages paid, minimum wage poster, New Mexico Human Rights Act, New Mexico Occupational Safety and Health Bureau, and the Deceptive Trade Practices Act. I want to talk a little bit more about New Mexico's smoking ban, which is known as the D. Johnson Clean Indoor Air Act. Since 2007, the state of New Mexico has banned smoking in most public places, including dealerships. Smoking is allowed outside public places, but no one can ever smoke near doors or windows. And also, a couple of years ago, they amended the D. Johnson Clean Air Act to include e-cigarettes and their vapors from being used and inhaled in spaces or similar tobacco products as well are prohibited. So you as a dealer, you can face fines of up to $100 for the first violation, $200 for the second violation within a year, and up to $500 for a third violation within a year. So make sure that you are following that law. The state of New Mexico has had that anti-smoking policy in effect since 2007, so you definitely want to be aware of that. You also want to be aware that you're following all the proper procedures when you're hiring new employees. Federal and state law requires employers, such as dealerships, to report newly hired employees in New Mexico to the New Mexico New Hire Reporting Center. And I want to repeat that very important information. State and federal law requires dealerships to report newly hired employees in the state of New Mexico at the New Hire Reporting Center. And this law goes back to 1996 when Congress enacted a law called the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, if you caught all that. It was a major part of welfare reform. And this is a federal law that requires every employer in every state to report new hires to a state directory. So every employer in New Mexico, including dealers, must report all employees who live or work in the state of New Mexico to the New Mexico New Hire Reporting Center. So new hire reporting is actually the first step towards successful child support enforcement. Every employer is required to report employees to this New Mexico directory, regardless of that employee's child support status, within 20 days of the date of the hire. So no matter what, when you hire someone for your dealership, you must report them to the New Mexico New Hire Reporting Center within 20 days. And this is the state complying with the federal law. So all new hires must be reported. And you have to have your dealership name, your payroll address, your tax ID, and things like that. And also the first date that that person started working for you. And you will need their social security number. You can go to nm-newhire.com. Once again, that's nm-newhire.com. But, if you do have any questions, you can give them a call. There's their phone number you see right there on screen, 888-878-1607. You must always ensure that you are paying the correct minimum wage to your employee. At the time this video was being recorded, the New Mexico state minimum wage is $12 per hour. This could change, so you always want to make sure that you're paying the correct minimum wage. You can contact the New Mexico Labor Relations Division at 505-841-4400, or you can go to their website, dws.state.nm.us. All New Mexico employers are required by law to display a minimum wage poster like you see right here. I want you to be very aware the state's minimum wage could change. I want to make sure you're very aware of that. So you've got to ensure that you are paying your employees the correct minimum wage, or your employees could have recourse against you. If you do have any questions about the correct minimum wage, once again, you'll see this New Mexico Labor Relations Division poster here, and their phone number's on that poster. You can call them at 505-841-4400. So you want to make sure not only that you're paying these correct wages, but you want to make sure that you are posting an updated poster anytime that minimum wage changes. And I want you to be aware this is the state's minimum wage. There are higher minimum wages in the city of Albuquerque, Bernalillo County, the city of Las Cruces, the city of Santa Fe, and Santa Fe County, among some others as well. So stay in contact with the Labor Relations Division to ensure you are always paying the correct hourly wages to your employees. And I want you to be aware, overtime pay is at least 1.5 times your regular hourly pay for all hours that are worked over 40 hours in 1 week. Employers, such as dealers who violate the minimum wage overtime requirements, are required to pay the impacted employees the full amount of their underpaid wages plus interest plus an additional amount that's equal to twice the underpaid wages. Did you catch all that? Employers who violate the minimum wage overtime requirements are required to pay your employees the full amount that was underpaid plus interest plus an additional amount that's equal to twice the underpaid wages. So if you're not paying the correct wages, it can be extremely expensive in the future. So always be sure that you are paying the correct wages to your employees. I also want you to be aware a brand new sick leave policy is in full effect and is now New Mexico law. So you are required to provide sick leave. And I want to give you an overview. This was House Bill 20, which was signed by the governor. This is a state law, and it requires private employers, such as a dealer in the state of New Mexico, with at least one employee to provide paid sick leave to employees. And this also includes part-time, seasonal, or temporary workers. You must provide 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. You must provide at least 1 hour of sick leave for every 30 hours worked. There's no waiting period on this. An employee that you hired to work at your dealership must begin accruing hours on the day they were hired. So there is absolutely no waiting period. In the past, a business might give, up to a 60-day window before they started paying sick time. There's no 60-day window. There's no window at all anymore. You have to start allowing that employee to accrue time on the day that they are hired. You are allowed, however, to do what's known as front loading, and you can front load that sick time by, say, for example, giving your employee 64 hours of sick time on January 1st of every year, something like that. Sometimes we have employers that will front load sick time. Now, if you already have a sick time policy in your dealership that meets these requirements, then you're going to be good to go. But just remember, this is the law, and if you have employees and you're not providing sick time, you have to provide at least 1 hour sick time for every 30 hours that is worked. So make sure you're complying with this law that is now completely in effect. I want to give you an overview of the New Mexico Human Rights Act. If you're an employer in New Mexico, your employees fall under the jurisdiction of the New Mexico Human Rights Act. So what you want to be aware, the Human Rights Bureau enforces provisions of the Human Rights Act that was actually implemented in 1969. So they have a work agreement and they share responsibility with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to ensure provisions of federal law are being enforced here in the state of New Mexico. And they prohibit discriminatory practices against anyone based on race, color, national origin, ancestry, sex, age, physical or mental disability, medical conditions, sexual orientation, gender identification, spousal affiliation, or religion. And so this basically refers to any specific types of different treatment or harassment or that might possibly deny human rights. Discrimination can occur maybe as failure to hire or failure to promote based on those categories. So definitely keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you are not violating your employees' human rights. Compliance with that statute includes displaying that informational poster in your business that you can see here. You can download those at NewMexicoDealer.com. If you have any questions, you can call them directly. That's the New Mexico Human Rights Commission at 800-566-9471. They've also got an Albuquerque number, 505-827-6838, and you'll see those on that poster right there. Let's talk about OSHA. This is the Occupational Health and Safety Administration. So they work in partnership with the New Mexico Occupational Health and Safety Bureau. New Mexico OSHA is the agency within the New Mexico Environmental Department that's responsible for enforcement of New Mexico's Occupational Health and Safety Act and providing safety and health assistance to employers. So New Mexico's OSHA jurisdiction includes the private industry, including dealerships. So you have to provide your employees a place that is free from recognized hazards. You have to make sure that your working place is a safe working place for your employees. So employers, including dealerships, must comply with OSHA standards. OSHA investigates cases that are filed by employees that who possibly allege retaliation after reporting health or safety concerns to the OSHA offices as well. So you never want to retaliate against any employee in your dealership that may have possibly reported something to the New Mexico OSHA office. And they do have compliance specialist assistants that can give you answers to any questions. So you're basically required to furnish your employees a place of employment that is free from recognized hazards. And dealerships in the state of New Mexico must also display your OSHA poster that you see right there. This is your standardized New Mexico OSHA form. And then there's also a notice of accident form that must be displayed in your dealership. I want to let you know that you are going to be able to download these forms at newmexicodealer.com. So you can scroll right down on any page of newmexicodealer.com and click on the New Mexico Dealer Forms link, and you'll see some posters down there at the bottom of that. This has links to all New Mexico and federal posters. And, you know, if you don't want to do that, you can download those for free, but you can go to your favorite marketplace, and you can usually order a laminate poster that contains all the required posters in one laminated package. So as you can see here, this is a company on Amazon that sells laminated New Mexico workplace posters. So you can go to your favorite marketplace and type in New Mexico workplace posters, and you'll see you can order these very large laminate posters, as you see right here, and you can post those in your dealership as well to make sure that you are in compliance. We've completed that unit. Now you can review these videos at newmexicodealer.com. Just scroll down and click on the videos link to go down to the content that you want to review.